one of the most important things you can do for yourself as a business owner and leader is to keep things simple. Hi, my name is Shasta May Hernandez, pronouns they, them, their, and I am here to help you align your life, love, and work with your values, goals, and soul. And in today's video, we're talking about how to maintain simplicity as a business owner and leader in your life, your love, and your work. And oftentimes this really starts as an energy within, right? Keeping things simple within, making sure that you're in alignment with what truly matters to you, to the values that you have in your life, to what sets your heart and soul on fire, right? What really gets you moving through your days, no matter life's challenges that come your way. And often you may find that when things are feeling more chaotic or unpredictable, or you're feeling out of sorts, or life seems out of sorts or to be really challenging, inside is a place where you may go to for a sense of solace, a sense of peace, and to be able to recenter, to move forward out in the world from a very grounded place. And when you keep things simple within, this is talking about the mental, the emotional, the spiritual self, then you can find these areas of centering, these spaces for grounding within a lot more easily. And when I'm talking about keeping things simple, when we're thinking about the mental portion of the self, that is to say, not spending time dwelling on thoughts or stories that do not serve, not spending time on negative thinking habits or negative feedback loops within the mind that don't serve your overall life goals, your work goals, your relationship goals, and what is present in your life right now. And really creating space and boundaries within the mind about how you will move forward and how you will utilize the intelligence of the brain, right? The logical functioning of your higher mind to help you in this life, right? To empower you in this life, to be able to create and continue pouring out in the areas that you need your mind for. Within the emotional self, simplicity also looks like having very clear, firm boundaries with yourself on the feeling portion, on how you will process emotions, and on how you will emote in this life, in your work, and in your relationships. Learning about the emotional self is really important in order to understand what simplicity looks like for you and how to not only process your emotions and your feelings in a way that allows you to free yourself to feel even more, right? And to focus on the more positive feelings or the feelings that help you expand into abundance in all areas of your life, love, and work. And when you really understand you, what you need, and this giving yourself the space and the time for that understanding, then you can really move forward from a place of simplicity within the emotional self that says, I feel, I know what I feel, I allow myself to feel, I process my feelings, and I move forward from a grounded and balanced place in spite of sometimes how you might feel, because we are not always feeling happy and joyful or, in a perfect state every day to take on all of life and work and relationships in all their ups and downs, though we understand that we can still move forward in spite of those feelings. And in your spiritual self, boundaries also come into play, and you may even consider having limits and standards for yourself on how you will navigate your spiritual self. In the last video I posted, I touched on the spiritual self and how vast and varied it is, and all the places that you might be able to go with that. And I do believe it's important to set limits for yourself about how far you will allow yourself to expand at any given time in your life, mostly as a way to honor the spiritual self that is present in this moment. Sometimes the curious portion of ourselves, right, the curious mind, can get really excited about exploring new things. And spiritually, there is so much in this life for us to explore and to learn about and to practice. And it can be so fun and different and enlivening and expansive, right? In such a beautiful way. Though there are also places in the spiritual self and the spiritual realms that you may not actually be prepared for, that you may not have the spiritual understanding and foundation for, and that you really just are not ready for and may not actually serve your life. And so there comes a point where you really must learn what your limits are, how far you will allow yourself to go, how far you believe is really necessary to go, right? And this is truly something that you must come to understanding within yourself about. No one can really tell you what this is. You may receive messages from the universe in the form of messengers, right? Other people may give you advice, like somebody like me, a guide who is offering that you must place limits on yourself spiritually in order to protect yourself, right? Though where that line is up to you ultimately. And I also touched on standards, right? So having a standard of your own spiritual sense, right? Of what your spiritual practices are, and a standard that you choose to follow in this life. Really this place of understanding what that standard is within yourself spiritually, and knowing that that's the place that you are looking to meet on a consistent basis, whatever that is for you. Again, with boundaries here in the spiritual self, it's really important that you are able to speak about these boundaries, to stand up for your own spiritual sense and beliefs. And belief work, I do find to be very spiritual, though it doesn't have to only be about spiritual concepts. The understanding and the feeling of belief, of faith, or having beliefs about certain things or topics, taking a stance about something, whether it's your spiritual understanding or life, or something out in the world, a certain topic that may require you to take a stance, right? Being able to speak toward these beliefs, being able to understand the moments when it is important for you to maintain a certain centeredness around your spiritual understanding and beliefs and what you will stand for. And knowing that within the self and having a space within the self that is your internal sense of who you are at a spiritual level outside of just what is happening in this human realm, in your life, in your love, and in your work, is so incredibly vital to your ability to be able to show up consistently at great length in spite of challenges, being able to step up to the plate, if you will, to face the challenges, to face your own fears, to break free of the limitations that you have within your mind, within your emotional self, and even within your spiritual self. And all three of these areas, really understanding how to maintain that simplicity throughout these areas is really a way for you to move more simply in your life. Oftentimes when there is chaos within, a lack of understanding within, it mirrors outside of the self. And that may even show up in your life, love, and work as chaos in the way that you run your business, in the way that you navigate systems and processes, or the lack thereof, right? In the way that you maintain standards amongst your team, in your relationships, in the way that you enact boundaries, right? In the way that you uphold boundaries not only for yourself, but with other people in all your relationships and in your community, and how you enforce limits with others as well. So this can really mirror in so many areas of your life. And when you choose simplicity within the self, it will also mirror outside of the self. It is this energy of harmony. And when you have harmony within, you also have that without. If any of this resonated with you and you are looking for more personalized guidance, check the description box below where you will see a link for a free 15-minute clarity call. And I will show you how I can empower the alignment of your life, love, and work using my alignment in motion framework. And I will see you in the next video.